Welcome back to the channel. So why do I think that this real estate market is completely unsustainable in 2025 and moving forward? So we will look at some job postings. We will look at some houses, and I'll tell you exactly how I'll break it up. But I took a number. So I took $60 an hour for a household income, which translates to $125,000 annually. Folks, $125,000 annually used to be money. However, there are some people, or let's say critics, whether they're older generation, whether they're maybe settled in, and they keep saying, well, get a job, or get more money, or save for a down payment. And yes, towards the end of the video, I will throw that curveball calculating how long it will take for a household income of earning $125,000, which is basically $60 an hour. What does this actually look like in real life? So let's get right into it. All right, folks. So as mentioned, we will look at some job postings and let's see what is available. I mean, these are from these platforms and they're open to public, like you can dig and try to find a job. But how much do you need to dig to get either $60 an hour or a household income of two people being employed, getting paid $60 an hour? So there could be a scenario of somebody earning $40 and somebody earning $20 an hour. So let's get right into the data. All right, so the first posting that I found, this is random picks. I don't know if they're still out there or they're available. I just found it, copied it, so I wanted to share it. So retailer development and customer service experience intern at JLR, it's paying $20 per hour. So somebody else needs to make $40 in your household. All right, so driver laborer, that's two men in a truck. We've seen that they keep moving furniture around and stuff like that. They're paying from $18 to $23 an hour as part-time. Licensed plumber, it's between $38 and $45 an hour, and this is full-time. Having said that, you need to have a license, you need to go to school and all of that stuff. However, there's that match. So we need a plumber or an electrician, and we need somebody in retail, and they will be able to earn roughly around $125,000 annually. Now, looking further, T1 TM tissue machine operator. I have no idea what this means. Posting is for Huntsville. It's for $23.25. Starbucks manager is earning from $57,000 a year, and this is a full-time position. Kitchen support is at Kids Care. I'm assuming probably it's like some kind of a daycare type of business, and they're paying between $18 to $20 per hour. So now we need either a plumber, electrician, a construction worker, basically with a full-time gig, right? That's busy, and we need another person that has some kind of different type of job that's paying around $20 an hour. It could be retail or anything else. Now, where does it get interesting? All right, so let's get into the actual income. All right, so now in order for us to summarize that, very easy. I'm not a banker, but roughly this is how the bank is looking at it. So it's between 3.5 to 4.5 times your income is basically what you can afford. So in a nutshell, you'll be able to afford somewhere between $450,000 to $600,000. That's your purchasing price. That's your mortgage amount, right? So I don't know how much of a down payment you have and what your qualifications are. We'll get into that in a second, but let's just look at this magic number right here, between $450,000 to $600,000. $400,000. Now, let's say the profile of this particular person or this particular couple is a couple. They're trying to grow a family. They need stuff. They need a vehicle to get to work, which I will get into in a second. But this is your purchasing power. So where are we looking? So what I did, I have divided the map. So our central point, we're starting from Toronto, and then we're gonna go towards west, and we're gonna check what we can buy between 450 and 600, and then we're gonna go towards the east, and we'll see what we can purchase between 450 and $600,000. So let's get into some properties. All right, so the first property on the list, first we're starting on the west side, and this will be in Brampton, right? So 475 Bermelia Road. This purchase price is at $589,000. As whatever I can see on the pictures, I don't have any interior pictures and stuff like that, but obviously this is zero garage, probably like a small port, and 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I'm assuming that this property needs heavy or intensive renovations, right? And most people that are starting out today with these earnings, right, like over $100,000, they would say, well, this is really not my cup of tea, right? So for numerous reasons, right? So you see how we're slowly falling, right? Like we need more housing. Yes, but do we need housing, or do we need more affordable housing that actually people can buy and afford stuff? All right, so property number 2, it's 937 Guard Street, and it is in Hamilton, and this property is valued, or they're claiming to be the value of $499,000. That's what they have listed for. It's a small 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom, 0 garage, and to me this looks probably like a 500-600 square foot home. It kind of looks like a single car garage from the sideways with 2 windows and a door. I'm not saying it's not good or it's not bad. I'm just saying most people, if I would bring them property like this, they would say, oh my gosh, really? For $500,000, this is what I could afford with these kind of earnings? All right, so property number 3. So we're getting into Burlington, right? So this is a row of townhouses of 4140 Foxwood Drive, unit 205. So whenever I see a unit number, I am assuming that there are a small maintenance fees or some kind of a fee associated with this type of a unit. However, it is priced at $549,000, and you will live in Burlington at this point, which is obviously a nice town to live in. However, most people will be not attracted, right? So 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, as mentioned, no car garage, but this is what you can afford. Now, moving forward, we're getting to Grimsby. Now we are getting further and further away from the actual city of Toronto, right? So Grimsby, at this point, we're probably talking 100 kilometers away from Toronto. So Grimsby, 55 Kerman Avenue. This is a townhouse, unit 44. I'm assuming it's some small fee associated on here, but it's close to $600,000, listed at $589,000. So you're getting right on that upper level and that upper threshold, right? But this is what it is: 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, zero garage. So you don't get a garage spot. However, I don't know what it is. It's probably in the complex. You can park somewhere, like kind of like a visitor's parking, but you have a designated spot. And most people would be okay. They would not love this place, but this is what it is, right? Traditional cabinets, builder stage, and all of that stuff. Anyway, so we're moving even further. Now we're more than 100 kilometers, and we're in St. Catharines. St. Catharines, a beautiful town, right on Lake Ontario. This house is not close to Lake Ontario, is in the inner part of St. Catharines, but for $519,000 get you a 2+1, will get you 2 bathrooms, no garage. It's a semi-detached property. I'm assuming no maintenance fees, but you're getting in the middle of your threshold at $519,000. So what did you think so far on the West End? Please comment below, and let's get into the East End of Toronto, and we'll talk about it. Let's see the competition. Where would you rather live for that money between $450,000 and $600,000? And before I get into that, there's also a reason why I took freehold properties, why I didn't go into condos, because they have maintenance fees associated, and I'll get into that when we get to the approval levels. All right, so let's go to the east side of Toronto. All right, 866 Cronson Boulevard. It's in Pickering. 3 bedroom plus 2. I'm assuming probably 2 in the basement, and 2 bathrooms, 0 garage at $599,000, listed 11 days ago. So does this look okay? Yeah, I think so. I don't know the interior, but you know, the floor plan is the traditional semi-detached floor plan, just listed a touch below $600,000. But in your case, you're right there. You're edging at your maximum. All right, next one, Ajax. So that's the adjacent city. So Pickering, Ajax, and then you get into Oshawa and all of that stuff. So we're going further and further from Toronto. So 40 Cedar Street, listed at $599,000. This is a detached property, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathrooms, and 0 garage, my dear friends. So is it okay? Yeah, the interior looks somewhat fine, but most people would not like the outside, right? Like it doesn't really feel like a house, especially like a starter home for a young family if they're trying to grow their family in this case. So anyways, I don't know, you choose, but this is your maximum at $599,000 at this point. So we go even further to Oshawa, semi-detached, 400 Viga Street. This is a 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom, single car garage, listed at $499,000. Now, this property, they did not show any photos for the interior, but you know, traditional outside. This looks like a brick on the bottom and some siding on top. Nothing special. Feels like a double car driveway. Whatever, like it might work for some people, but do you want to live in Oshawa? That's the question. All right, so we move even further to Port Hope. All right, so now we are 100 kilometers away from Toronto, roughly in Port Hope, and this property is listed at $499,000, 3 bedrooms plus 1. I'm assuming the one is in the basement, 2 bathrooms, and a single car garage. So now we're getting into a category where this feels more like a traditional, you know, family starter home, picket fence and all of that stuff, right? So that's what it feels like. It has a single car garage. I'm assuming it's a detached garage in the backyard, which is fine, not a big deal, right? Some people even prefer that, like if they're in construction and they can leave all their tools or whatever, right? So, but you are 100 kilometers away from Toronto at this point. Now, getting even further, 59 Brown Street, it's in Burlington. It's a detached home, listed at $599,000, and that's your max. Now you're talking over 120 kilometers from Toronto. I'm assuming you're probably not driving to work to Toronto, because it would take a long time for you to get in and out of the city. Maybe a GO train would be an option or whatever, but it comes with a price, because commuting to work back and forth requires funds, requires money. So can $60 an hour support this type of lifestyle. So now you saw the West, you saw the East. The question is, would you consider, if you had a partner, you and your partner earning $60 an hour, would you consider any of these properties? Please comment below. Or you can comment, I wouldn't consider anything, or life is not fair, or this is crazy, or we cannot earn more. Comment whatever you feel like it's right. But let's get into the actual numbers, right? So this is the perfect case scenario. That means you have no debt, zero, no student loans, no car loans, nothing. You're clean as a whistle. All right? And with this, you can afford whatever I have just showed you. Now, when we get into a little bit more realistic numbers, right? So now, if we add a $1,000 car payment, that means two cars. Sorry, so here, two cars. Why two cars? Because two people at $500 each, right? They will need two cars. You cannot live in Ajax or St. Catharines and not have a vehicle. You have to commute. So now we have to assume that these two people will have a car, $500 monthly payment each. So that's $1,000, right? Gas and insurance. So it's only $6,000 left for the budget of the mortgage. Now that budget shrinks and the purchasing power goes down to $400,000 and $475,000. Now, with these numbers, we're not even saying, credit card debt. We're not even saying cell phone. We're not even saying you have an internet bill. We're not even saying, like, you're probably not even breathing at this point, right? And although everything I just showed you, the scenario, there's more, right? And the more, just let me find, and the more is the actual down payment. So let's reverse the scenario. So now we'll say, all right, so the budget is $475,000 if we have cars. All right, cars, no problem, and no other bills, no problem. But now, if I say you are renting a $2,800 place currently, right now, you're renting, and you have all these bills, how long will it take for you to save $100,000? So for you to save $100,000 with you earning $60 per hour, making over $120,000 a year, a couple, it will take at least 5 years. That's if you don't have fun, if you don't do anything and nothing, let's say everything goes according to plan, 100%. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody has additional problems with the car. Nobody goes on vacation. Nobody eats. Nobody does anything for 5 years. You absolutely are focused as a elite soldier, right? And you can save for the next 5 years $100,000, maybe. This is $100,000, right? Well, 100K you might be able to save. And then when you save this $100,000, then you will be able to be in this bracket, or you'll be able to be in this bracket. It all depends, right? And now, when we are looking at the entire picture, how can we move forward? I just don't understand. And yes, there's people out there, they'll say, well, they just need to earn more. No, I get that. I understand that. But what if you cannot earn more? You just can't. Jobs are not available, right? Like, I'm sure there's like tons of young people out there that would love to earn $200,000-$300,000 annually, right? Like it's just not available. Like I don't hear these cases where somebody drops their employment letter and I see that they make more than $150,000. I just don't see it, right? Maybe, if they're in employment for 20, 30 years, and even then, what's the security that they're gonna earn, over six figures and all of that stuff. So forget about ongoing prices, inflation, and all of that stuff. This is just currently what is happening. Therefore, there is a huge bottleneck situation that it cannot be fixed, or it is hard to be fixed because we're way off. We're way off. This is not 3.5 or 4.5x your income. We need 12 or 13 times the income in order to satisfy some of the numbers. And don't forget, I showed you the bottom of the barrel. This is the bottom of the barrel. We're not even getting into $1 million home, which is very, very common in Toronto, but it's also common in the outskirts. It's common to see $1 million home. It's common to see an $800,000-$900,000 home, right? So when you put everything, all of it, into a pot, right, and you put all these ingredients into that pot, it's a disaster. Like we cannot move forward. There's the opportunity and the room is not available. All right, so I hope I clarified some points with you. Please be involved. Like I really, really want to hear your opinion where you would rather live, on the west end of Toronto or on the east end. And do you agree with me? Do you agree with this fact? Is $60 an hour too much to ask? Can a household income, is this normal, right? Because I don't know, like I see, in the 20s, I see max 30s. This is what I see. I don't see 40s and $50 an hour individually, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'm off. I know I'm not, because I deal with this phenomena on daily basis. So anyways, please like, share, subscribe. I hope you gained value out of this, and I'll see you in the next one.